All right, everyone. I think that the liberals have finally completely lost it. That is, whatever semblance of sanity they had left appears to have left. It's on vacation, at least. They are still trying to astroturf Bernie Sanders as dear leader. This is a terrible idea. I say this as a Vermonter. I'm one of Bernie Sanders' constituents. Supposedly, he represents my best interests. He usually doesn't do that. But this dude is a geriatric old fool who has not had more than two jobs in his entire life. He was fired from carpentry because he couldn't do that. And then he was a teacher. He even got kicked out of a commune for being too lazy because he would sit there and write his slam poetry all day, and eventually people got tired of the fact that he wasn't tilling the turnips. This is how communism works, of course. There's not a lot of room for creativity unless you're government sponsored, by the way. Bernie Sanders in the Fighting Oligarchy tour. Yeah, we're going to fight the oligarchs. We're going to take them out. You're a millionaire. You represent a political party that is backed primarily by billionaires. I love how Kamala Harris can pull in 3 times the amount of money that Donald Trump did, mainly, again, on the backs of the extremely wealthy. But no, you're not the party of oligarchy. The fact is that we've got two oligarchic parties. You've got the Democrats and the Republicans. Then there are some outsiders. The leftoids are technically kind of sort of outsiders on the Democratic side. The squad members, for example, they genuinely want communism in the United States. Bernie Sanders is one of them. And then on the other side, you've got the marginal libertarians like Rand Paul, and then you've got like the MAGA conservatives. They're outsiders too. You have a few Tea Partiers that didn't sell out, but they're not really meaningful. The Massey sorts. The fact is that our entire political system, for the most part, is run by oligarchists. That's technically the political system that we've constitutionally employed, by the way, this entire time. What do you think is in mind if you have a Senate and a House and then the court system, and then you have the presidency and the vice president and so forth. You have the executive branch. Isn't that an oligarchy to begin with? Unless you wanted to establish a direct democracy and do everything by ballot over and over again, which would collapse your system entirely, we're going to be an oligarchy. We were incepted as an oligarchy. The problem is not with the fact that power is concentrated in a few hands. The problem is twofold. Number one, people not acknowledging this and fighting back against it. You don't need to destroy the rich and rob them of their wealth or anything like that, but you do have to back them down when they try to do scummy shit. Like what was going on at Epstein Island. Oh, wait, that's right. Shit. The judiciary is controlled by the same people. That might be a little bit of a problem. That's number one. And number two, people have to be aware of their constitutional rights and stand for them more vigorously. As long as you have a stronger constitutionalist system, it doesn't matter if you have a goddamn dictator. As long as they can't sick the military on their own population, everything will be fine. Believe it or not. It's very, very funny. People misunderstand the nature of power. Bernie Sanders is literally part of the same machine that he tells people he's fighting against. This is a multi-million dollar old rich white dude. Well, he's also Jewish, but he doesn't seem to practice Judaism. He's an old rich dude. How is he not part of the same system that the average leftoid hates? And why is he being astroturfed as some sort of leader when literally all he's doing is going around and waving his fist in the air saying, oligarchy, oligarchy, I want those ice cream subsidies. That's not accomplishing anything. You're rambling into an empty room. When people show up at his rallies, they're doing it mainly because he might say something crazy or because they're dedicated socialists and communists. So they like him because he's been a long-term member of the party, so to speak. Dude, his honeymoon was in the Soviet Union. And there are pictures of it too. I had a great time. Yeah, the ice cream over there, though, I was trying to suggest that they should make it a little bit sweeter, though, because they didn't have enough money. This is Bernie Sanders in a nutshell. He's been doing this since the goddamn 70s, since long before I was fucking born. He's been doing this since my dad didn't have a single gray hair. He's been doing this since my mom was a fucking teenager. Bernie Sanders is not going to save you from oligarchy. It's just not going to happen. It's very, very funny when people suggest that that's going to occur. He's been touring around with AOC, for example. It seems like she is his chosen acolyte. He's like, well, I'm the face of old guard socialism. Yeah, but again, he's been doing it since the fucking 70s. And I'm an old white dude. This is this young, the ethnic chick, this BIPOC chick. He'll use that term, by the way. It'd be very, very funny when he does that eventually. And it's basically like a Sith Lord and his apprentice, when you think about it. Yeah, only the Sith Lord decided to employ DEI. Basically, well, I need someone who's younger and darker than me, and preferably they have a vagina. This was Bernie Sanders' reasoning when he decided to team up with her. And he doesn't care about his career because he's probably not going to be able to run for re-election. He's simply fucking too old. Unless he wants to go Strom Thurmond mode, that is possible. Maybe he becomes the next Strom Thurmond. He's like 100 fucking years old, passing out in the Senate and can't even speak, but hey, he's still there. Other people have to sign, the bill for him or the whatever, sign off on the bill. But other than that, everything is perfectly okay. Now let's get you your bran muffin, your prune smoothie, and wheel you out in your wheelchair because you can no longer goddamn walk. And you've had like 5 heart attacks, but hey, he's still there. He gets a participation trophy at that point. Bernie Sanders fighting oligarchy is a pile of absolute baloney. That's about all. Peace out.